To make watered steel blades, Persian smiths and iron workers used a type of steel that was made in crucibles. Hence, this type of steel is called crucible steel. One should note that crucible steel is not merely high carbon steel, but rather it is an ultra high carbon steel. Crucible steel or watered steel is called pulad gohardar or fulad johardar in Persian. A sword or blade that is made of crucible steel is called tighe johardar and tighe johardar or tighe gohardar. Not all types of steel that were produced back then were made of crucible steel. Some were high carbon steel without any pattern, called fulade bijohar, steel without watered pattern or high carbon steel. And there were other types as well, which were made of welded steel. Upon occasion, crucible steel had failures or flaws in certain places, and these imperfect articles were called bigohar, or without watered steel pattern. This refers to the areas where the crucible steel pattern is not visible, either due to the bad quality of the blade or poor etching. One should note that watered steel is called Damascus steel in the West. The name of the city of Damesh or Damascus is associated with this type of blade in the West, and this city was a hub for trading of blades and swords, and European travelers probably first came into contact with these blades in this city. Although the steel is known in the West as Damask or Damesh, Damascus was mostly a central marketplace for the trade in blades, and the technique presumably had its origin in India and later, as we found out, also in Central Asia. And recent research shows as well there were also centers of crucible steel making in Chahak in Persia, Iran. Damesh or Damascus was a trading place where caravans from the east and west met to exchange products. Amongst the products offered for sale were fine swords from Iran, Persia, or India, or also Central Asia. The metal for making watered steel was not made at Damascus, but at other places, like in Hyderabad and also in Central Asia or in Chahag, as I mentioned. In some recent Iranian publications that were based on European sources, the translated term Foulad Dameshqi is used, making the false insinuation that this steel comes from Damascus as well. One should note that this is a recent linguistic borrowing, and in historical texts, the correct terms Foulad Johardar or Pulad Gohardar were used to refer to this type of steel. The general term for describing the pattern of crucible steel is gohar. The term is used in combinations such as gohar shamshir, watered steel pattern of a sword, gohar tigh, watered steel pattern of a blade or sword, gohardar, watered steel, and gohari hosam, or a watered steel sword. Crucible steel is a slowly cooled type of steel with a carbon content of 1 to 2.1%. Thus, crucible steel can be described as an ultra high carbon steel that was left to cool down slowly after it was completely molten. The inner structure of the crucible steel is made when the molten charge starts to become solid slowly, and the elements with the highest melting point began to solidify and grow into dendritic network. Impurity elements such as Mn, manganese, S, sulfur, and Si, silicon, silicium, and P, phosphorus, begin to shape a network by separating between the austenite dendrites. The dendrites are deformed into planar arrays parallel to the blade surface during the forging procedure. The existence of cementite dendrites together with segregated impurity elements creates the beautiful patterns on watered steel blades. There was a great deal of trading in those crucible steel cakes that were made in India and Ceylon, Central Asia, or Chahak in Persia, and also in Marv in Central Asia. Based on historical accounts, crucible steel was considered to be the highest quality steel. The beauty of Persian crucible or watered steel has been a source of great interest and fascination for different nations over centuries. The magnificent whitish lines intertwined with each other and set in a dark background furnish a great deal of detailed information regarding the steelworking and forging process. These beautiful patterns differ from one sort to the other, and although one can classify them into more general groups, each watered steel blade remains unique and individual in its own right. These patterns in watered steel blades were formed by dendrites of cementite. Therefore, the patterns are created due to the spheroids of cementite, which is proven by metallurgical analysis. One can imagine a crucible steel blade as a soft body, ferrite pearlite matrix, where the hard particles, globular cementite, are present everywhere. Hence, the watered steel blade has qualities combining flexibility with hardness. The additional tempering for a martensite blade will decrease the hardness in exchange for added toughness and ductility. Thus, watered steel blades were not only famed for their beauty, but also for being very durable, and durability and ductility and edge retention qualities. Based on historical accounts, crucible steel was considered to be the highest quality steel. The beauty of Persian crucible or watered steel has been a source of great interest and fascination for different nations over centuries. The magnificent whitish lines intertwined with each other and set in a dark background furnish a great deal of detailed information regarding the steelworking and forging process. These beautiful patterns differ from one sort to the other, and although one can classify them into more general types or groups, each watered steel blade remains unique and individual in its own right. These patterns in watered steel blades were formed by dendrites of cementite. Thus, the patterns are created due to the spheroids of cementite, which is proven by metallurgical analysis. One can imagine a crucible steel blade as a soft body, ferrite pearlite matrix, where the hard particles, globular cementite, are present everywhere. Hence, the watered steel blade has qualities combining flexibility with hardness, and the additional tempering for a martensite blade will decrease the hardness in exchange for added toughness. For more information, see my book Arms and Armor from Iran, and also Lexicon of Arms and Armor from Iran, which you can buy them directly from us by contacting an email which is provided in the description of this video. Thank you very much and see you in the next video.